Welcome to the Branding PR Podcast, where we dive deep into the stories and strategies of today's most impactful entrepreneurs, business leaders, and professionals. Whether you're building your brand, scaling your business, or just looking for inspiration, you're in the right place. Go. Hello again, and welcome back to the Branding PR Podcast. I am your host, of course, Brandy Sims, back for another week of great conversation with amazing industry professionals, and this week is no different. So our special guest I have with me today is Connor Treacy, and Connor is the co-founder of OffSunset. He's also a branding and PR strategist, as well as a former A&R manager at Universal Music Group. Connor, I'm excited to speak with you. How you doing?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to get into it.
Yes, same here. So, Connor, as I was going through your bio, and then of course, I'm going to snoop online about you because I
Got
have
to,
so many
right?
questions. You're supposed to do that, right? And I was just in awe by the expertise that you've developed, all the things that you've done, and just it seems like a short span of time. Of course, as I'm saying it, you're thinking like it was not short. It was like I had to grind. I had this going on, and then this was hectic. This just looks good on paper, but man, the work that I had to put into it to get to that point. So that's gonna like it just was very inspiring, but also like, man, like you really did your thing. Like you, and you're still continuing to do your thing.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I started when I was about like 19 and I'm 32 now. So I've been doing it for
Yeah.
quite some time. But yeah, it's always like I don't know if you ever feel the same way, but I just feel like I'm constantly in a battle where I'm not feeling like I'm not doing enough, but then
Yep.
also I'll like look and be like, damn, that's crazy. Like I never thought that like some of this stuff would happen either. You know what I mean? So
100%. I
yeah,
feel
it's
you
kind of a
100%.
mixed
I
feeling.
feel like it's a millennial thing because I think
Yeah,
it's us that feel that way, but then look at our lives and what we've been able to achieve in such a
yeah,
short amount of time with, mind you, very little resources. We didn't get a lot of help, but
yeah.
what we did have, we just built these entire empires and built these really, really successful careers.
You're still doing your PhD also, right? I did some
Oh,
reading
look
on
at
you as well.
you.
Yeah, I checked it out. Uh,
Okay,
yeah,
cross snooping. I like that. I
yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
Yes, I actually did. I just finished, and
Oh,
really,
okay.
yeah, I just defended my dissertation, which is basically the sign of whether you're going to get this thing or not. But yeah, I just defended 2 weeks ago
Okay.
and passed unanimously.
Wow.
At the same time that I was pitching another client that we've now successfully brought on, and yeah, it was just like I'm still kind of in awe, but then at the same time, it's like I'm used to being the underdog. But again, I feel like this is like the constant millennial like storyline. It's like we're constantly being underestimated, and then we come in and just dominate, and then do it better than it's been done before.
Oh, that's crazy. Because
Yeah.
you have your MBA also, right?
Yes, I do. I do.
Okay.
Went to B school, finished in 2018. Yeah.
So when you do your MBA, um, and then you do the PhD, does any of those years count towards the PhD, or is it just like a whole other can of worms? Like you
I
gotta
wish
just do
it
all.
was. Yep, I
Okay.
wish it was, but no,
Yeah.
it is pretty much a whole new can of worms. It's starting fresh, which I feel like going through the process, like at the time, you have to just learn to embrace the suck, right? Like we just got to go through this because
Right.
I'm the one that signed up. But, looking back at it though, I'm glad I did because it kept me abreast of what was going on in terms of academia, what was being taught, what are things that I may have not known, and I could be applying them as I was working because I never stopped working. I just kept going, taking on new gigs, doing projects with different agency groups, trying to figure out if I really wanted to get into entrepreneurship or just kind of continue to just partner with different things. And, you figure it out. You kind of are just figuring it out at that time. So it was
Yeah.
really good that when I was going, it was like at the same time I was learning some new things, I was applying them in real time. And it
Yeah.
did make a difference in terms of like actually um, letting all of that, the stuff that I was learning that was new, actually resonate and really like I call it marinating, like actually
Yeah,
sit
no, no, it
and
makes
do
total
something with it,
sense.
right? Yeah.
I was
Well,
just
look
reading,
at
and I was like, that's
you.
crazy. Yeah, no, I was just reading. I was like, wow, she's like decorated. She got like the whole shebang.
Oh, well, thank
Yeah,
you. Thank you. And same
yeah,
to you, though.
yeah,
Same
yeah,
to you,
yeah.
though. But
Well,
that's
yeah,
why, yeah, go ahead.
no, no, because I'm doing my MBA right now. I finish in a year, and so I was like
Mm.
just looking at your stuff. I'm like, wow, like I relate. Like I feel like we're gonna have a good conversation about like an MBA program in general
Oh,
probably today.
100%.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But yeah, I saw you're doing your PhD. I was like, oh, that's crazy. I wouldn't. I'm done after this. I'm not gonna keep going further. That's
Oh my
crazy.
gosh. You say that
Yeah,
now, Connor, but I
yeah,
feel
yeah,
like you'll have that itch like we all do where it's just like let me just go just a little bit more.
yeah,
Let
yeah,
me go on the edge of that cliff just a little bit more. I know I've gone a little bit, but I could go a little bit more. I haven't fallen off just yet.
yeah, yeah,
It's that thrill seeking. It's that, constantly that need to challenge ourselves that it's just I feel like our generation is literally the best. Like we've got the best of everything. Like the talent, the strategists, the drive is insane, and the passion to do these things and just do it well, but while maintaining so many other things. It's just, yeah, I think we're the coolest generation, honestly. I mean, that's just my
Oh
opinion.
no, for sure.
But yeah, so we'll definitely talk a little bit about that too, because would love to hear more about why you chose to go back, because that's something that um I don't think people talk about enough. I think it's just you pop up and then you're in it, right? But what
Right.
kind of made you decide to take that step and go for it, especially after, right? You've already
Yeah,
had successful businesses. Was it
yeah, yeah, yeah.
you just learning and being abreast?
Um, I kind of just felt like, I mean, there was like a few factors that went into it, but I guess really at the core of it, I kind of was just this like person that my main value was that I just knew a lot of famous people. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I mean? And I was just like, I don't know if like that's sustainable, and so I felt like if I went back and got that credibility also, then like it would open more doors and like give me more longevity. Because
Mm,
when you're kind of on call for all these people, it's like a full-time job. You could be like at home watching Netflix, and then all of a sudden so and so calls you and boom, you're gone. Like you got to go somewhere.
yeah.
So it was a bit of that. It was honestly when I started working at Universal Music Group too, like the first question that was being asked, like, "Oh, where did you go to school?" or this or that, and like I kind of just like
Mm.
I don't know if like feeling insecure is the right word, but I just was like I don't know. I just feel like I want to be able to like pump my chest a bit more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So right?
No, I get that. I get that.
Yeah,
Especially in the early days, right? When you're just getting started. I think that there's this kind of look that they'll give you like, oh, you don't have a degree, or
yeah,
you don't have a degree at an Ivy League or a really notable school. Then it's just kind of like, okay, anyways, like let's go on to our
yeah.
more prestige people. I think
It
with
was
that,
it was more of that.
oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, no, no. That was just what you were saying. Like it was more just like all of that combined is kind of why I did it.
Yeah, no, for sure, for sure. So it sounds like you have the underdog spirit too. I just like like if you want to get to me, I think the best way to do it is tell me like I can't do something, because I don't
Yeah.
know what motivates me more than somebody telling me, "Oh, you're not smart enough to do this." It's like, bet I'm signed up. Like as we're talking, I'm signing up. Like just because you said it, like I don't know what it is. That the same thing for you?
Yeah, like I just I guess for me, um I just built everything up like step by step.
Hmm.
So I don't know if like anyone nor myself expected any of it to happen.
Yeah.
So I've kind of just always walked into the next situation where like when I first started throwing parties, like no one in my grade or the grades above me would go, they'd be like, "Oh, you think you can throw parties?" Or like, you know what I mean? And then so it's kind of like always felt like that for me. So I just felt like I'm constantly trying to just do more to like gain like credibility and prove myself maybe, but I think at the end of the day like I don't know if you'll ever fully be fulfilled with it too. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's kind of like I guess the mentality. But Just always improving,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Just always
I think it's
improving.
necessary. I think it's necessary. So you've built a reputation for curating high impact brands across entertainment. I've seen nightlife. I've seen you in venture capital. But let's rewind just a little bit, right? So what first drew you in to the world of PR and branding? I know you just spoke about kind of the parties and things like that. Was that the initial kind of interest, or was it something else that drew you into that? And what was that
Right.
moment you realized that was your lane?
So this all kind of started. I threw this party called Project X, and like a
Okay.
lot of people think that the movie is about me. It's not. The
I
night
was
that the
about to
movie.
say.
No, no, a lot of like two people just asked me at a party this weekend when I was out. Like, but basically, the night that the movie came out, I created a Facebook event page called Project X and invited like 100,000 people.
Oh my
And
God.
then, yeah, and then like news
Oh,
cameras came. I was on like CNN, Fox, like local news networks, World Star Hip Hop, like all sorts of stuff. And then I have it on my YouTube page now. It has like close to 1 million views. And so once I did that party, I kind of was like, oh wow, like I gotta like keep this going or I'm gonna lose it, you know? And so it kind of was like a fluke of like why I got into it. But ever since then, it was kind of like, all right, like how do I keep pushing the envelope and like building this thing out? It was kind of that's how it started.
oh wow. So
Yeah,
this young kid on CNN having
yeah,
this epic party, and at the same time, you didn't even realize you were actually leveraging and kind of newsjacking a little bit because of the film release.
right.
That's pretty dope.
I didn't expect to like have news cameras show up and stuff though, like completely caught. And I feel like I learned a lesson from that. And then with a lot of the other stuff that I've done is like I never know that any of this stuff's gonna work or do well. You know what I mean? It just kind of like randomly
Just
happens.
happens.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, you know, because I've
Yeah.
felt that way. I try to explain that to people I work with or other things. Like anytime I've posted an accolade or this or that, like that whole time I was like worried. I'm like, if this doesn't work, I'm gonna look like an idiot. Like, you know, so
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, like I'm never thinking the whole time it's gonna work.
Yeah,
Like,
no.
yeah,
I feel like that's the thinking of an entrepreneur though. I've talked to a couple and it's kind of like when I hear about their stories, right? And I hear about the early days, that's almost like a constant for them is that, I really didn't know if this was going to work. It was just kind of like, let's see what we can do with this and just put forth some effort and just see what comes of it, right? But I feel like that's probably the early signs really of just that entrepreneurial thinking because really if you think about it at its core, what is an entrepreneur? It's somebody that's just going out and taking an initiative and just doing something different, creating something that's answering a problem or creating a solution that is to a problem that people or consumers have. That's what an entrepreneur is. So you are already thinking in that same vein of, okay, I'm going to do this and then let's see what happens with this. And I mean, if it
yeah,
pops, I mean, great. If not, I mean, there's a quote to this, there's 100 ways to do something. I'm going to say it so wrong. It's 100 ways to do something,
uh-huh.
or 100 no's until you get the
Yeah,
yes.
one, no one, yes, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But it kind of like speaks to this in that instance, probably a lot better than I just did. But
No,
I
it
feel like,
makes sense.
yeah, yeah, that there's so many ways you can go about it, and there's so many chances and tries that you have. It's unlimited. It's really the taking the step to actually go and do it. A lot of people don't do it because they're afraid of failure.
Yeah, no, 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 you're like spot on. I mean, I would say like the only difference now compared to back then is like I at least like know the patterns or the history. So usually like the way it goes is I'll have like a big hit and then I'll go like quiet for like a year or two and then like something else like comes out of nowhere. Like you know what I mean? That's usually like how it works. And like most of the time or a lot of the time I'm like trying to focus on one thing and then the hit ends up coming out of nowhere and it's like something completely different that like I wasn't even like trying to do.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
usually how it goes down.
Hey, I mean, and
Which
in those
yeah.
instances, that's how you grow, right? is
Which is nerve-wracking too, though, by the way.
oh, 100%. I mean,
Yeah,
it's not easy to just put something out there that hasn't been done before and to just kind of see how it goes. It's not easy. And like I said before, there's a lot of people that literally have this idea that actually is a pretty damn good idea, but they literally, what's holding them back is not being able to just act on it, right? Because they're
right.
afraid it's going to fail and then everybody's going to hate it. And then, oh my gosh, I'm going to be judged because I created this sucky ass project or whatever the case may be. But it's just like, you really don't know what's going to happen with that. And you don't even want to try to even see where it goes because it might land. We don't
Yeah,
even think about that. Like, what if this actually does work out in your favor and becomes this huge, massive thing that now people are beating on your door because they want to work with you? Like,
yeah,
so yeah. So being able to really recognize that early on is a huge deal, huge deal. But I feel like this again attributed to the millennial mind that, just go for it. I don't know where that
yeah.
comes from. Where do you think it comes from? Just that willingness to like, let's go try this out.
I feel like, it's definitely a lot more, like, glorified now to be an
Mhm.
entrepreneur, like, especially after movies like The Social Network came out and stuff like that.
Yes.
So people think it's really sick, but, like, I just gave a speech type thing for my MBA class, like, a week or 2 ago, and I honestly was like, honestly, like, I feel like being an entrepreneur is a gift and a curse, like, it's, like, not always that great, you know what I mean? Because there's,
Yep.
like, you could be completely cold for, like, a whole year and have no idea what's gonna happen, and then just out of nowhere, something happens, and then you go up, like, 5 levels, but, like, it's not, like so if you don't have, like, the stomach for it, or if you don't want, like, a very up and down kinda lifestyle, then, like, it's really, like, I wouldn't recommend it. Seriously.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
No.
Yeah.
Hey, you're being honest. At least you're being honest. Because I do think that unfortunately, social media has gotten just so out of proportion in terms of what this really looks like and what entrepreneurship, like the experience really is. And it's because
Right.
you have people that are constantly showing all of the good parts of it. Everybody wants to show when we're jet setting, when we're dining at fine restaurants, where we're hitting up the best spots, but nobody wants to talk about, the periods where like there's no sales or very little sales, or, we're having to fire people because, there's not enough coming in to support and maintain a staff. Like, nobody wants to talk about it. Heck, even the layoffs now with media, we don't talk about that side. We only talk about when we see media go back and forth with a public figure or get some really cool quote or something like that, and not the other side of things where it's shaky. It's a little
Yeah.
shaky, especially with traditional media.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure. That's the only, like, point and maybe I'm a bit more, like, pessimistic than, like, most entrepreneurs, but I've really, like, been through the ringer, you know what I mean? So it's kinda like I try to just tell it straight to people. I don't try to, like, romanticize it. It's just for me, it never even crossed my mind in college to, like, get an internship or go work there. It just was
Really?
never, even a oh, no, like, cause
Yeah.
I did the Project X party when I was 19, so I would have been a freshman in college,
Hmm.
and, I immediately then went straight into, like, going on Google, booking artists, renting out, like, random 18 plus venues in Hollywood, selling tickets on Facebook, like, that's what it switched, so it was, like, never even a thought that crossed into my mind. So,
Huh.
I don't know, by the way, I mean, you could still, like, turn into an entrepreneur maybe, like, later on in life, or do you know what I mean? It's just
Yeah.
I never even was on that wave, like, and
Yeah.
sometimes I feel like it's a curse, you know what
Yeah,
I mean?
yeah. No,
Yeah.
I appreciate your realness because I
Yeah.
do think it's important to give this perspective because again, you go on social media and it's so glamorized, like, oh yeah, I'm an entrepreneur. It's like, okay, well, what does that mean? And like how far into this are you really? Like sometimes I'll see posts or I'll see like profiles and I just have to like gag. Like you must have just got your LLC. Like welcome.
Yeah.
Like you haven't really got it. It's almost the honeymoon period. You
Yeah.
must have just got registered. Like you're not in the thick of it yet. let's come back to you in about a year and see how you feel. The first 3
Right.
years are the hardest.
Yeah.
100%. Okay, so then, so with the entertainment industry kind of constantly evolving, we've seen a major, major shift in exclusivity, right? And the access to brand positioning and things like that. So just recently, for example, there was this big old frenzy around the Grammy parties or really the after parties. And they really showcased the power of PR in creating these must attend events. So, from your perspective, what goes into making a venue or an event feel truly exclusive while you're still generating that massive buzz that you're known for?
Yeah. So, um, I guess I could speak on like how I launched off Sunset.
Okay.
I didn't like come out the gate with like a huge grand opening. I tend to try to like build it quietly, and then people are like, "Oh, did you hear like so and so was there or this and that?" Like, you know what I mean? And then it
Yeah.
slowly grows, and then after like 6 months it like pops.
Yeah.
So I try to like build my brand and like my stuff more like if you know, you know, and like you
Mhm.
start by inviting the coolest first and then it like filters out. That's typically how I run my program.
Oh, I like that. I like that. It's like you're
Yeah.
building the buzz before it just kind of takes off and pops off. But that's where that exclusivity, that's where that VIP feel really comes from, is just that word of mouth behind the scenes. Well,
Word of mouth.
you know, then you know because you're in.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
that.
That's what I feel like is it's just easier to build it and it puts less pressure on you and then it like I feel like gives it more of a runway, like it can last longer if you build it that way.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I mean, so it's that early word of mouth, that early PR that you're doing that's actually helping to build that thing up to where it needs to be. I love that. And and looking at the Grammy parties and looking at so many other industry events, it gives that same kind of feel too, that level of exclusivity, that's part of the fun.
That's
People
what it is.
see that. Yes, yes. And as much as, people want to, complain and moan about it, it's like, be for real. If you were invited to an exclusive party, like you're going to be over there like jumping for joy. You're going to be excited because
Yeah.
it's something that not everybody else has access to. And that's the point. Like
It's
that's
all
where
about the flex.
yes, it's a whole flex. So,
Yeah.
that's part of the fun of it. So yeah, yeah. I love that. That's part of your strategy. So, okay, so getting into business. So building off Sunset into a $4 million brand was not just based on great PR. It took some
Yeah.
strategic business moves, and I think you know a lot about this. So, what were
Yeah.
some of the key financial and operational decisions that you made that helped really drive the success there?
So for one, it was definitely a bit of timing. It was risky too because this deal was being negotiated during COVID, right?
Oh snap! Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Wow.
So for one, like we didn't know when COVID was gonna stop or when things were gonna open back up. But that
Mm.
being said, because of that, we got a really good lease deal. We got it cheap.
Ooh. Okay.
Yeah. So if you're in that position, because you got to think for me, so if you're in my shoes during that time, COVID happens,
Mhm.
no touring, no nightlife, no hospitality, no, not. I was even working with this app, and the whole position of it originally was about meeting up with people in real life. So that was even done. And then I even like had some like side Airbnb stuff I was doing. That was even done too because
Ah.
COVID. Yeah. So
No, but
I
it's
went from I went honestly from 2019 was my biggest year to then all of a sudden 2020 happens and just everything stops.
ah,
Not a single thing was going. Yeah. And so then I get hit up about this venue that's open, and then you're left with that. You're like, all right, so my whole life is stopped. And now, like, do we go in even harder and then commit to this lease and we don't know when it's going to open or not? And so I ended up agreeing to doing it. And then we literally opened, like, when we were opening, you still had to do like cotton swabs on people and stuff like that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but
Throwback. Oh my gosh.
yeah, but it
That's the
gave us
90s.
runway where nothing else in LA opened for like a year and a half or 2 years. So it was like it was one of those situations where it was risky, but like perfect timing at the same time. So you had low lease, no competition with like a new venue, and like we just had runway. So that's kind of like the trade-off. So it's like it sounds great now talking about it, but at the time, like I almost didn't do it. I had other things
Really?
going on. Yeah, I had other things going on where I thought they were gonna be the hit, and I was like, I'm done with nightlife. Like that's over. Like you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that's like my point. Yeah,
Oh my gosh. Yeah, like I'm as you're talking, I'm just thinking about it like it was a crazy time. It feels like so long ago, but it really wasn't.
yeah,
And when everything did happen, it was like the impact was really really heavy, especially if you were involved in anything that was an in-person activity. So, any events that shut down, any traveling that shut down. Oh my gosh, you remember we had to have what was the vaccination cards to
yeah,
go anywhere, like, and that was a thing because people didn't want to get him. Unfortunately, I was one of them. I'm not gonna lie. But we're being honest in this conversation. I didn't
yeah,
want to get it. I literally got it for work because it was to the point that they were just like, you have to have it, otherwise you are not flying. And I'm not driving anywhere.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah, so having to make those strategic moves really made the difference for you. But there was a lot of uncertainty at that time that we didn't really know how this thing was going to go or how long it was going to be. Because I mean, this went on until 2021, but really it kind of went on until about 2022 when things got
yeah,
normal, right?
yeah, yeah. No, because Off Sunset didn't open until August of 2021. So it was still kind of, yeah, it was still,
Yeah,
COVID was still like a thing kind of. Like it
it
was,
was.
yeah, just when you're allowed to start kind of doing stuff.
Jeez, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but again, you making the moves that you did is kind of what made the difference because you saw an opportunity in all of that craziness that was going on to let's launch this thing and let it take off and let it
Yeah.
do what it can do and that's how it led to your success here. I mean, hey, the strategic moves make a big difference, but there's definitely it has to be acknowledged and recognized that there is absolutely going to be big risk involved. Otherwise, like there is no big return. And I feel
Yeah.
like this was one of those instances for you. Do you feel that way?
No, no, for sure. Like that's why I try to like give people the full picture of it because
Yeah.
really at the time, like it was like super, it was like one of the most challenging times I've probably ever had like in my career. Cause like I just had to like reposition a lot of things. Like I had to, I'd never even lived. I mean, I don't know if they call it a recession yet, but like I feel like it was a recession. Like I'd never really lived through a recession. Like in '08, I was still in high school. I didn't graduate till 2011. So
Mhm.
this was like the first time where like it felt like almost each day there was another thing of bad news where they're like, oh, this is shut down, this is shut down. And I'm like, this is crazy. Like,
Yeah. No,
you know,
seriously. It was a lot.
yeah.
It was a lot going on. So you've worked with high profile talent and investors. What's your approach to securing major partnerships and collaborations that actually move the needle for a brand?
So I would say that my real talent, well, I mean like maybe one of the main talents is like I've been in this for so long and I've been at it from a lot of different perspectives. So I have a very good understanding of like what's realistic.
Mm,
You know what I mean? So if you tell me like, "Hey, I want to market this product," I could tell you exactly who from my network would probably do it and for like how much, but like I am very aware of like who wouldn't be down to do it either. You get what I'm saying? So
mm,
and so a lot of the times like even like with the app I was working with, like I casted like this big commercial we did where like DJ Khaled was in it and some other people, and like I put together some partnerships and stuff like that. And so during that time, for instance, I was like thinking in my head who would be down to do it, this, that, the other. So I would just say it's like just knowledge of kind of working through the industry. So when I'm dealing with like brand partnerships, that's kind of I go into that mindset. So some that just takes time though. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You gotta kind of just work your way up. And I was scared during that time too, because I was just known as kind of like the club person before. So then
Yeah.
I'm like hitting them up to do like these deals, and there's like money involved, and so. But now I do that all day, those kinds of things.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, so it was just getting the feel for it and getting comfortable and more confident as you continued along to be able to say like, listen, I can go and pitch for this and secure this partnership and all of that good stuff. And then of course
Yeah,
knowing your person, right? And who would
yeah,
be ideally the best fit for this partnership to actually be very successful and mutually beneficial for both parties.
yeah. And also too, I mean, once you like get in the circle with like a lot of these people, like I really try to like pride myself on like having like a reputation where like Connor doesn't hit me up about that much, but like when he does, I know it's something like good.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So I'm
Yeah.
not just trying to pitch everything to everyone either. You know, like I'm
Mhm.
very like particular on like I want them to know if the Connor text comes through, they're like, okay, like it's
Yeah.
bag time.
It's
Yeah,
game time. What you
yeah,
say, bag time?
yeah,
I
it's
like that.
bag time. Yeah, it's bag
I
bag
like
season.
that. I
Yeah,
like hey, the coins.
yeah,
Give me my money. I like that. I
yeah,
like that.
yeah.
For real. Okay. So from launching, nightclubs to scaling your talent-backed brands, you've had a hand in multiple business ventures, right? So what's
Right.
been your biggest learning curve, do you think, as an entrepreneur? What's the biggest one that you can think of?
The biggest learning curve. Um, I would say this. Um, I would say this, especially in entertainment, be as nice as you can to everybody. Because
Mm,
for one, you do not know who is going to become who. You know what I mean? That one server you're talking to at the restaurant, they could become Brad Pitt or whoever. And then also on the flip side, you could be hot right now, but then COVID hits next year, and then all of a sudden you need some of these people to throw you a lifeboat. So,
mhm.
like, honestly, when I'm the most up, I try to be like the nicest because I know that it doesn't last. It's usually I get hot and then, like, you know what I mean? So I
Yeah.
try to just I use that as an opportunity to be like extra nice so people try to like will be more willing to hook me up when I need it, you know?
I know that's right. Just be nice
Yeah.
to everyone because you never
Yeah.
know where it's gonna go. Yeah, I
Yeah.
like that. I like that.
Right?
And especially in Hollywood, I feel like there's so many people flocking to Hollywood every year for that exact same thing. Like, I just need to do this audition and or this opportunity, and let me just keep grinding it out, and eventually something hopefully will come about with it. But you never know. And the
Yeah.
way that digital media has just evolved, like even just a regular person shooting videos in their backyard, like they could be the next viral star. And the next thing you know, I don't know, Cheetos is doing a brand partnership with them. Like it's that crazy right now. And it's kind
Yeah.
of wild that that's how we are now, but it's so like it's not, I won't say it's super accessible, but it kind of is in the sense that a regular person can be a star overnight, and that could have
Quick.
very well been that person you just met getting your coffee.
Quick, you
Like,
know?
yeah,
Yeah. So I would just say like be as nice as you can to everyone. Just cuz also it's good to be a nice person, but also like, you know, like if
yeah,
you want to have longevity in this business, like you need to be nice.
I like it. Okay, we're gonna underline that. Nice. Be a nice person. More people will
Yeah.
want to work with you. Hello.
Yeah.
Remember you because you were nice. I like that.
Right?
Okay, so when it comes to startups, a lot of founders struggle with their PR in the early stages. So what's one branding move that every startup should focus on from day one?
Yeah, so the one thing I've learned about press now, because I have gotten like a decent amount of press, is you need to usually attach it around like a real story, right? So it need like
Yeah.
I in the beginning, like even honestly when I was like a big like promoter and I just knew a lot of like celebrities, like I was like, why aren't I getting press? And it's like because there's no like story around that. You need to like usually tie it to a business. So like you need to open an off sunset and craft a story. And then honestly, once you start crafting that story, it's easier to keep building the story around it. So you just kind of got to crack the egg, you know, and eventually it breaks open. You know what I mean? So I would say in the beginning, focus on getting stories around like projects you were releasing or like real things that you are doing. And then after that, it's right. You know, from doing
Yes,
press. Yeah, that's exactly
100%.
how it is.
That's
Yeah.
exactly how it is. I think you explained it so well, and I feel like a lot of these businesses really need to hear that, because there's this assumption that, oh, because I have this going on, like there's a new, I don't know, acquisition or somebody got promoted, like that's just news. Like, do you know how many other people are doing that exact same thing that you're doing, and they're all hoping for the same thing, that, oh, they should be covering it, and then they get mad when they don't cover it. It's like, listen to what you're talking about. Nobody cares. Like,
Yeah.
especially to a company that nobody knows about. Like, you haven't done anything notable worth really telling just yet. So it's almost like kind of tying into that partnership and collaboration aspect of this. This is where tying yourself to somebody that is notable is how you can leverage that a little bit, because you're leveraging their audience, because we know them, we don't know you. And so
Yeah.
that's kind of how I feel like it ties in many ways, is that you have to have something bigger that's attached to what it is that you're trying to present and you're going to do, because otherwise they're not going to bite, like, just to be and they tell us this all the time on the PR side of things. Like, I feel like we should do on another note, I feel like we should do remember the segment, I think it was it Jimmy Kimmel that did like the tweets celebrities would read about the bad things people were saying about
Oh
them.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah,
I feel
yeah.
like we should do that for PR, because we get so much shit from
Yeah.
media whenever we're pitching things, wherever we're sending things. If it's not good, they will let you know. And some of the stuff that they say, I mean, they can be pretty freaking harsh. And
Yeah.
I don't think that, like, business owners and startups really get that. I think they just think, oh, well, this should have been you guys should have been able to do this, or you should have been able to get something good from this. And it's like, you know, you guys adopted a cat, or you guys added a new product to your product line, but it's local. It's not big. It's not even
Yeah.
national. It's not even in national stores. Like, it's not news, guys. Like,
It's not.
sorry,
It's
it's not.
not.
It's not news. Therefore, they're not going to cover it, even the local people. But yeah,
It
so
needs to be
going
very
forward,
specific. Like it needs to be like if you have a tech startup, you just raised such and such amount from Andreessen Horowitz, or it needs to be
yeah,
very like black and white, like cut
yes,
and dry. Yeah.
100%. It has to
Yeah.
be. It has to be. Otherwise, they're not going to pick it up. So yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, that might be a collaboration that we do down the line.
Yeah, yeah, no, for
We share
sure.
horror stories and crap that we get behind the scenes, and we hear and see behind the scenes that you would never know. You would never know. You just get the
Yeah.
dazzling campaigns that you know and love, or parties that you know and love. But you don't see what goes on behind the scenes,
Yeah.
and how difficult it can be. So yeah. Okay, so you've successfully built and scaled brands across three very different industries. So, entertainment, hospitality, and venture capital. Super, super different. So, what's the common thread between all of them that makes a brand successful?
That is a good question.
Love
I
some.
guess at the end of the day, people want it.
Mm,
Or need, you know what I mean? They
yeah,
like to serve it, right? At the end of the
yeah,
day, it's just something that people want. So, you know, I'm not gonna like sit here and say like I knew every time that like that's what people wanted, you know what I mean? But like I guess on the music side, like the artist that I had worked with, Youngblood, like he was just a rock act from Britain and people really liked the rock act aspect at the time, and that kind of went on a run. Or the producer that I had that was working on that song with Dua Lipa, like I just feel like it was just situational where that's just like what people or that individual was like looking for at the time. I would say with Off Sunset, it worked because people wanted to feel more of like an intimate, vibey, like good crowd kind of a thing rather than like a huge blaring like nightclub with, you know what I mean? So it was more
yeah,
like and then on the venture side, with what I'm doing now, I mainly just do like celebrity backed food brands, right? So it's just a lot easier to get conversations going when you can name drop like a big YouTuber like David Dobrik rather than if I'm just pushing like a random chicken brand or something. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
but there's pros and cons to everything. You know what I mean? So, but that's kind of, I try to give it like a little bit of an edge and like think about kind of maybe like what makes it different or what's missing in the market.
Mhm.
Things like that that kind of come to mind.
Yeah, yeah. It's the
Yeah.
common thread between all of this is there was a demand for each of these areas that, you saw an opportunity there that you could meet that demand. So that
Yeah.
definitely makes sense. Definitely makes sense.
Yeah.
So in today's business landscape, we know, and of course we know from the PR side of things, that relationship is currency. I mean, you were just talking about that in terms of partnerships and brand deals that you were able to secure. So what's your strategy for building and maintaining valuable industry connections over time?
Yeah, so for one, I'm always just I'm by the way shameless. I'm shameless with like the cold DM or the cold email. I like
Yeah.
my whole network is based off that. So if you see me friends with all these people, there's probably like 10 out like 1 out of 10 the rest of them didn't reply to me, you know what I mean? So it's like I for one I'm always the one trying to initiate the I love the cold. We're in a time where there's social media now, you can cold reach out to anyone.
Yes.
You know, it's crazy. Like, so um that's definitely like one of the main things. What was the full question, just so I could add on to that?
Yeah, yeah. No, the full question was just how do you maintain those
Oh,
connections
maintain.
over time? Yeah, yeah. How do you
Yeah,
maintain those, especially just in your position? Because you've been
right.
doing this well over, well, you're hitting your 15-year mark now too.
Yeah, yeah,
Of
yeah.
doing this and getting connected, starting from the ground and really working your way up. How do you maintain those relationships over that time
Yeah.
period?
So on top of, I still do cold outreach all the time. You know what I mean?
Really?
Yeah, now it's mainly to
Okay.
like now it's mainly to VCs and like that whole world because I wasn't in that world before, so
Yeah.
it's just like a whole new network. But to maintain it, honestly, like I try to just keep adding value. I just got to keep making hits at the end of the day. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like I gotta either make a cool spot that people want to go to, or I need to be working with like a really cool artist that people want to work with or be around, or I need to have some sort of a brand that people want to be associated with. So I feel like it's a combination of constantly reaching out and meeting new people,
Mhm.
having something of value that people want to be involved in and want to stick around and keep following me for. And then third is just being nice. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Be nice and keep making hits. Noted.
Yeah, be nice and just keep making hits. That's it. It's easy.
Yes, I like it. I like it. So there's
Yeah.
a lot of hype around influencer-led brands, but not all of them are successful or succeed. What do you think makes the difference between an influencer brand that thrives versus one that just flops?
I think like a few things. Obviously, like luck is probably like one of them, but a lot of it's just like the team. You know what I mean? I'm
Really?
not saying this for every celebrity, but I feel like, there's just so much more that goes into it than them just posting a product on
Yes.
Instagram or something. Like you really got to have people, if they don't want to be the ones doing it, they really need to have people behind the scenes like putting plays together and like keep pushing the envelope, because it's competitive and it's hard and there needs to be like a lot of follow through, whether that's finding new investors to keep raising at a higher valuation, whether that's getting their product put in more stores or getting more collaborations done. Like if they're not the ones that are like grinding it out every day, like they need to really have like good people behind them doing that.
Hmm.
And then also maybe like credibility as well. Like if you're just, I don't know, if you do one thing, maybe it doesn't make sense for you to post this kind of product. Like, 'cause I feel like, especially right now, people um, want to feel like, like if you're a pro soccer player it probably makes sense for you to do like a soccer ball or soccer shoes. Like, you know what I mean? So try to
Yeah.
stick with whatever is credible with what you do as
Okay.
well.
Yeah, no, I like that. I like that. The
Yeah.
importance of the team backing
Yeah.
all of
Yeah.
these initiatives is the biggest takeaway, that people just have to really understand and hone in on. It's like this isn't just done by one person. It's not just a post and done. Like not at all. Like there is a team that's pushing this, and there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes to make this stuff possible.
Yeah.
So spot on. So spot on that. Okay.
Yeah.
So we know entrepreneurship is and can be, well, I said is and can be. It is. It's a roller coaster. Can you share a moment in your career where things didn't go as planned and you how you pivoted?
Yeah. I basically I would say during COVID,
Yeah.
honestly.
Okay.
I had success early and quick at Universal. I basically like signed and developed um Youngblood, the Rock Act, and then I also had signed and developed this producer, Skylar. And so with Youngblood, it was like I had more followers than Youngblood when I met him.
Oh
You know what I mean? Yeah,
wow.
yeah, yeah, yeah. He had
That's
like 2,000 followers
crazy.
on Instagram and like one or two songs, and basically
Yeah.
like the I got hired at the label and they were like, look at our current roster, pick something. And so like that's literally what I did. I just was like, I feel like this could make sense. And then Skylar I, like randomly met like at a party when I was trying to sign another artist.
Hmm.
So um and then obviously Youngblood had like I think four like platinum songs or something like that. I think one of his albums went number one in the UK, and then Skylar obviously was on Dua Lipa's album that won a Grammy, and so I kind of was on the vibe. I was like, I don't feel like I feel like I wasn't ungrateful with the opportunity I was given. I just was like, I'm never really gonna like make real money if I stay here at the label. You know what I mean? Because they own everything. So, which is fine. I also didn't have sleepless nights because I had a paycheck coming in each month. But I felt like I was like, all right, like I felt like I did it all. I'm gonna leave and try and sign an artist and do it myself. Quit Interscope like uh November of 2019, and then COVID hit like March 2020. I had found an artist, was developing them, kind of was like working with them and like Kygo and his manager and their management company. Just didn't work out. And then I kind of like lost the whole thing and I was like, great, like just gave up my position at Universal Music Group and lost everything. And then out of nowhere, the Off Sunset play happened, and then it hit, and then that was bigger than anything else I had done. Yeah, so that was really how I felt at the time. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm
So
just sitting here like goodness gracious. Like that's
yeah, yeah, that's the kind of risk that I was under, though. You
yeah.
know.
To take that leap and to take that step. I mean, that was a big risk.
Yeah, huge risk. I remember even the lawyer like looking at me when I was closing out at Universal. He was like, "You really believe in this?"
Gosh.
Yeah,
He
yeah, he was
was like,
like a
"Are you
nice
sure
guy.
about
Like,
that?" Like,
yeah, yeah. He was like kind of in awe too. He was like,
yeah.
"Wow, like kid believes in himself."
Like
Or like,
you got some balls for this
yeah,
one.
yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah,
let's just be honest. Like,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
okay.
So that was how that whole thing unfolded. So looking back at it now, like I would say it was like the best thing that ever happened to me, but
Yeah.
it also like the lights were off and things were cold for a while.
For a little while, yeah.
Yeah.
Before it got good. Right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I don't try to romanticize this. I feel
Yeah.
like people really should know like what they're getting into.
100%. Well,
Yeah.
I appreciate your honesty in this entire
Yeah.
conversation. This has been really awesome. Okay, so
Yeah.
I know we're getting up on time because I know
Yeah.
you're super busy. So
Yeah.
I want to ask you this final thing. Looking back at your career, what do you hope your legacy will be?
Right. I guess at the end of the day, like I hope to be viewed as like a successful executive or entrepreneur that did it the right way
Yeah.
and um was fair and honest and like was able to like build out a good business, but like I feel like I still have like good standing and people don't hate me. You
There
know
you
what I
go.
mean? Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
No, I seriously think you need to make this into a shirt. What was it? Be nice.
Yeah, be nice
To make
and keep
hits.
making hits.
Keep making the hits. I know that's
Yeah, right?
right. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, all
Yeah,
right,
no.
Connor. Well, this has been such a great conversation. I'm so glad that we had an opportunity to sit down and just talk about your journey and all of your amazing success in multiple different industries, right? I was going to say in this industry, you've been killing it all across the board. So this was amazing, and I thank you so much for being a part of this. Where can people connect with you? Where can people can connect with you, find out what's happening, or just reach
I'm
out,
Yeah,
follow?
yeah, yeah. I'm everywhere. I'm everywhere. So first off, you can go to connortracy.com. I'm on LinkedIn, Connor Tracy. I'm on Instagram, Connor Tracy. I have a Spotify. I have a YouTube. Like I'm on it all. So it's
Awesome.
just type in my name. It's under that.
There you go. Oh, you said I like that, Connor. You said Google me. Okay.
Yeah,
Big
Google.
flex.
Yeah,
I like that.
yeah.
Well, awesome, awesome. Well, thank you again. And as always, tune into the Branding PR podcast. We are hosting this every week. Amazing conversations just like this one. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share it, and let us know what you think of this episode. There were so many gems dropped. So definitely, I hope you had your notebooks out because I know I have my little notepad on the side. Okay. Be nice and keep making hits. Got it.
Yeah,
Say less.
yeah, yeah. Oh, for sure.
All right. Thank you so much, Connor.
All right, thank you. Bye.